Over here. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this regular meeting of the Poway Unified School District Board of Education on January 12th, 2003. The time is 6:05 p.m. Please note that this meeting may be recorded or broadcasted at the direction of the board, and the recording or broadcast may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. We will be starting the meeting today with a moment of silence. It is with a heavy heart that we now share that Abraxas High School family tragically lost a student, Cole Pearson, who passed away last month. Cole Pearson was a proud December 2022 graduate of Abraxas High School and had been a student in PUSD since his days at Midland Elementary. Those who knew Cole remember him for his effervescent personality and his big heart. Cole treated everyone, friends and strangers alike, with kindness and love. He was a proud Abraxas Eagle, and his loss will certainly be felt throughout the community. Our thoughts are with the Abraxas family as well as the Pearson family, and we are so sorry for your loss. Please join me now in a moment of silence for Cole. Thank you. Now I invite you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, republic for which it stands, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you very much. And with that, we have our agenda item 3.2, report out of closed session. Ms. Seitzma, Dr. Seitzma.
Thank you. Closed session began at 4:08. The Board of Education took the following action in closed session. In a matter of conference with legal counseling pending existing litigation, case number ADR 1128-2022, on a motion by O'Connor Radcliffe and a second by Couvret, the board voted to approve the settlement agreement. The vote of the board was as follows: ayes 5, nays 0. In the matter of conference with legal counsel pending existing litigation, case number ADR 1130-2022, on a motion by O'Connor Radcliffe and a second by Plotsky, the board voted to approve the settlement agreement. The vote of the board was as follows: ayes 5. In a matter of conference with legal counsel pending existing litigation, case number ADR 12012022, on a motion by Plotsky and a second by Couvret, the board voted to approve the settlement agreement. The vote of the board was as follows: ayes 5. Do I read that? Yes. Okay. In the matter of public employee appointment, superintendent mid-year evaluation and goals, there was no reportable action. All other items, there was no reportable action taken during closed session. Closed session was adjourned at 5:55.
Thank you, Dr. Seitzma. That brings us to agenda item 3.3, board members in attendance. We have all board members in attendance, including our student board member. Item 3.4, welcome to the public. Ms. Putham-Baker.
Thank you. Welcome to the monthly meeting of the Board of Education. If you would like to address the board on any agenda item, please complete a speaker slip. All requests to speak must be submitted to the clerk of the board before the agenda item comes up. If you are requesting an agenda item be pulled for public discussion from section 5.0, consent calendar, a speaker slip must be submitted to the clerk now, as approval of the consent calendar is one of the first items up for approval. Item 4.2 is placed on our agenda to enable members of our community to bring items that are not placed anywhere else on the agenda to the board's attention. Speaking time is limited to 3 minutes per speaker with a maximum of 15 minutes per topic unless waived by the board president. There will be a 30-second yellow warning light when time is running out. Speakers may only speak on one topic under item 4.2 and may not defer their speaking time to another individual. If there are concerns regarding specific individuals, it is preferred that the speaker refrain from naming them publicly to respect their privacy. The board will accept and review any written materials that would provide more specific information. The Brown Act does not permit board action or extended discussion of any item not on the agenda, but your concerns will be referred to staff. With that said, welcome and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Ms. Putan-Baker. We're now on agenda item 3.5, approval of agenda sequence. Do we have any changes to the agenda sequence? Any items to pull off the agenda or move forward? All right, then I will solicit a motion. We're pulling it off. Okay. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Right. Do we have a second? Second. On a motion by Dr. Seitzma and a second by Ms. Kubrat with student preferential vote? Aye. And the rest of the board members? Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you. We're moving on to agenda item 4.1. Student board representatives. Looks like we have several students here tonight. That's very exciting. First, I will call from Del Norte High School, Emma Hong. Welcome. I hear this is your last board report for us.
Yes, it is.
Welcome.
No, Good evening, board members. My name is Emma Hong, and I am a senior and the outgoing ASB president at Del Norte High School. I will be speaking on how the Nighthawks are college-ready, future-focused, and globally aware. As we hit the six-week mark for trimester 2, our Nighthawks have never been more college-ready and have not only worked hard for the past 4 years, but also matured into college-bound students. Whether that means learning how to juggle AP classes or finding the confidence to express themselves, the seniors are excited to be finishing the last of their college applications. Speaking of applications, students have filled out their ASB applications, and the aspiring class presidents are currently in a nail-biting election week. They find out who will be representing their class this Friday, which is very exciting. As a school who strives to be future-focused in every grade, Del Norte is continuing to help students understand complicated topics through peer counseling, the What Center, and various clubs that focus on subjects ranging from Chem to Calc. While academics is a huge part of what makes Del Norte a great school, we recognize the importance of being multifaceted, as it will help our students succeed beyond high school. Whether it's the upcoming musical titled Big Fish that our students are running and producing later this month, or our state qualifying sports teams, or even the internships our clubs offer, we encourage our students to try something new and explore their interests. Throughout the year, our flock has made huge efforts to be globally aware. Our students are eager to learn more about the world. This trimester, our Equity Task Force held a holiday celebration before winter break. There was fun music and food from all around the world. Students and staff could try a Chinese dessert and take 2 steps and try a German sausage. Some of our students and staff in the Equity Task Force will be presenting at the SD-COE Equity Conference later this month. Our ASB works hard to create an equitable, fun, safe environment for all our students. That same week that the Equity Task Force held their holiday celebration, our ASB finished collecting donations for our Toys for Tot drive and December gift drive. These donations went directly to our Nighthawk families who needed some help financially to ensure that all our students had a memorable holiday experience. Everyone at Del Norte is thankful to have the chance to come together to better our community, as well as to create a better flock for all Nighthawks. I am so excited to be a part of the positive impact our students are making and look forward to sharing Del Norte's plans and events soon. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak this evening, and have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hong. We'll miss seeing you here. Next, from Poway High School, we have Kiara Bowser. Is this also your last one?
Yes, it is. I just want to say thank you guys so much for having me this past year. I'm so sad to be going, but I'm excited for the future. So, okay, well, good evening, PUSD board members. My name is Kiara Bowser, and I am the ASB president at Poway High School. And I would like to catch you up on how our Titans 2022 to 2023 school year has been since we last met. So, Poway's No Place for Hate Week was a great success. Our students taught their peers to think before they speak. We want all students to make sure what they're saying is true, helpful, inspiring, necessary, and of course, kind. Our Titan Theater did a splendid job of their play Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and they are currently preparing for their winter play, The Addams Family, and we can't wait to cheer them on. Our varsity football team ended undefeated in their regular season and advanced to Open Division for the first time ever. We lost to Carlsbad Lancers in the CIF playoffs, but we are so proud of our success. Our Emerald Brigade held their winter concert and played some beautiful holiday music with bands from younger middle schools. It warmed our hearts seeing some of our future Titans doing what they love. Our band is now preparing for their festival in February to show off their talents to the people of Poway. Our robotics team had their FRC kickoff last Saturday, where they got their robot assignment for the next 6 weeks. They will work hard to complete this robot assignment and then compete in 6 regional tournaments. We wish good luck to our team Spider. Currently, Titans are having a blast hosting our first ever Poway Spike Ball tournament. Student or teacher partners pick a dynamic duo they would like to represent and then compete with each other to be our first ever Spike Ball champion. It's been so much fun seeing teachers and students get their game faces on during lunch. Speaking of game faces, our Lady Titans are getting ready for our 2nd annual Powder Puff game. We have both junior and senior team coaches coached by football players. They will be competing with each other on January 21st, and the winner will move on to play the Powder Puff team of our friends the RB Broncos, making the ultimate Super Bowl Powder Puff game, and we are so excited. ASB is currently planning our sophomore assembly, where an inspirational speaker will come in and talk to our sophomore class about how to be more supportive Titans for themselves and others. Our peer counseling club is hosting their retreat tomorrow and Saturday to teach the students of it how to be student leaders and listen to their peers on what they're going through during rough times. The Titan ambassadors are doing incredible things for our community, helping Holiday with Heroes to spread holiday cheer to families in need, and visiting our local elementary schools to teach them what being a true Titan means. Poway's Winter Formal is coming up, where students can act like celebrities for the night and dance at our paparazzi-themed dance. And lastly, I want to give a very special recognition to Tessa Buswell. Last month, Tessa was crowned Division I state champion of women's cross country with an astounding 17-minute and 24-second time. And not only that, but Tessa represented California as one of the 5 individuals running in the Nike Cross Nationals. She did absolutely amazing, and we are so proud to have her as one of our Titans. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for helping Poway High thrive. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kiara. Our 3rd speaker from high schools is from Westview High School, Brad Brady. Are you here tonight? We've been waiting for you. I guess Brad is absent. We'll move on to Oak Valley Middle School. We have Landon Whiteland and Abby Francis. Hope I pronounced your name right. Okay.
Good evening, Superintendent Phelps, board members, Poway Unified staff, and community members. Thank you for the invitation to speak about Oak Valley Middle School. My name is Landon Whiteland, and I'm a very proud ASB president.
And I am Abby Francis, this year's vice president. We are excited to share what's going on in the Falcon world. Our year began with open wings when we welcomed over 500 new 6th grade Falcons to Oak Valley with our We Belong crew. Our crew leaders set up games and activities to get our new Falcons familiar with the campus, the staff, and most importantly, each other.
We hosted a fall carnival in October, and the ASB partnered with our 6th grade GTT class to create carnival games out of recycled materials. Students stayed after school to play games, hang out, enjoy apple cider and popcorn, and vote in the Scarecrow contest. There were some really cool scarecrows designed and built by Falcons, and it was a great chance to come together as we started the new year.
We also hosted an after-school trivia contest had our annual Crafts and Cocoa event and sponsored a gingerbread house contest. The winning teams of Falcons not only walked away with the admiration and respect of their peers, but also with some pretty cool gift cards donated by community businesses.
During the holiday season, we organized our student-led Gift to Family campaign. Last year, we started a new tradition with Make a Change Week. We asked Falcons to bring pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, and dollar bills on different days of the week. Overall, we raised $583 to give back to our OVMS community, and it felt terrific to help out our local OVMS friends and family.
We are currently planning our school dance with a throwback to the 80s. Our connection classes will each be designing an 80s themed door, and the dance with glow sticks, neon, big hair, and sunglasses will be on January 26th. We can't wait for this night and know it's going to be totally rad.
Middle school is supposed to be the middle portion of our school lives. Figuring out who you are, who your friends are, and what your strengths and weaknesses are can be a tough road to navigate, and we feel that having the Daily Connections class is a huge support. This class is kind of like homeroom, but most importantly, it's a family. Two of our teachers, Miss Hewitt and Miss Valentine, have worked hard to lead a group of student ambassadors in designing schedules, curriculum, and activities for our connection classes. Personally, my favorite day of the week is Friday, because we have Fun Family Friday. We play games, have fun challenges, and if you're lucky, you can beat your teacher in a game of trivia and she'll buy you all tacos.
We know that Oak Valley is exactly where we want to be and where we belong. We would love to invite you to campus and come see what we are doing each day. You'll get to see thinking, teaching, learning, smiles, and students who truly love where they are. Middle school can be awkward, but OVMS makes us feel like we belong, and we are proud to be Falcons.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do see that our Westview rep is in, but I'm going to go to the elementary school students first. So from Morning Creek Elementary, we have Elizabeth Goldfeld, Ella Maynard, and Sebastian Saputro. Please correct me if I got that didn't get that correct. Welcome.
Members, associate superintendents, and Dr. Phelps, we are proud to be here to highlight some of the great things happening at Morning Creek this year.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Goldenfeld from Morning Creek Elementary. Where each school is represented by a different college. The class that Ella and I are in is represented by The class that Ella and I are in is represented by Purdue University. Something that makes Morning Creek so unique is that students have an opportunity to sign up for student leadership programs like peer tutoring, student council, safety patrol, school decorators, welcoming committee, and lots more. It's important for us as students to have our voices heard and to be able to be involved in the school. I've been on the school newsletter and I applied for student council. Ella here has been on No Place for Hate and student council, and Sebastian has been on welcoming committee, school decorators, and again student council. We also have our amazing PTA team that helps organize even more after school clubs like choir, theater, chess, Lego robotics, and countless others. Our foundation also puts on an Apex Fun Run every year to help raise money for future school activities and to help teach students about leadership qualities. But we wouldn't have been able to establish a lot of these activities without our parent volunteers and generous donors.
Hi, I'm Ella Maynard for Purdue University. What I love most about Morning Creek is our wheeling system. In Wheel, we get to go to Second Step, Library, Art, and STEAM Lab. I love the STEAM Lab because if kids aren't good at something or don't like it, they can work on something else. For example, if they don't like coloring, they can work on the building and designing aspect of STEAM. It also encourages people to work in groups. In art, we get to create and have fun, no matter the project. And if you're not good at art, no worries. The teachers are inclusive and accepting and are just there to help you learn. Our library also is a great place to go. It can help you wind down after a stressful week. It teaches people to learn different genres of books and read about different cultures. Our school is special in the fact that we have Second Step. Second Step is where our counselor teaches us to identify and control our emotions. She shows us real-life situations and how we can deal with them while still being calm and nice. It's great that the foundation funds and encourages wheel, and I hope we can continue wheeling for years to come.
Hi, I'm Sebastian from USC Trojans. Morning Creek is a great place to be. This year, Morning Creek Elementary introduced a positive referral system for students who are showing good character and doing the right thing. We follow the 6 pillars of character. You can earn blue sips, or we call it quote cards, for doing little things like helping a friend. And you can earn quote kudos for doing really big things. As a grade level, we earn points in our quote cafe competition during lunch. Our principal gathers the Kudo kids for a celebration and does a gift card raffle for Blue Slip kids who get 5 Blue Slips every month. Each of our classes have morning meetings to check in on each other, preview our schedules, and discuss our day. Every first and third Fridays, we have Friday Flag to come together as a whole school and show off our class's college chant. The coolest thing in our school is our awesome counselors who spend their time teaching us about social and emotional learning. It is fun how they show us their slideshows and remind us how to behave and act around each other. The last cool thing we have in our school is our diverse student population. We learn about each other's cultures, food, and language, especially during our multicultural night. You may want to join us for this event and see how unique our school really is.
I've been a Morning Creek Colt for the past 7 years. The school is my second home, the staff like my second family. I love the experiences I've had over the years and the education I've gotten. I invite you each to drop by and see the amazing things we do at Morning Creek. Thank you for letting us be here tonight.
Thank you very much, Colts. So our last high school speaker is Brad Brady. Come on down. I hear you rushed over here from theater, something like that. Thank you.
With me is Josh Yang. Hello, nice to meet you. Perfect. Well, nice to meet everybody, and also farewell, everybody. Today was my last day of my term. Taking over will be Josh Yang. Perfect. After nearly 4 years here, I couldn't be happier to say that I'm a student here. Although nearly impossible to do, I'd like to sum up our community in one word: enthusiastic. You can feel the enthusiasm of our staff, students, and teachers every day on campus, and it's just thrilling. One recent example may be in part to some of our recent successes, such as our women's soccer team finally playing their first game this week after a multiple year-long success streak. Our ASB is always there to support. Our recent focuses have been a very successful homecoming and an upcoming and exciting winter formal, and supporting our clubs, nearly over 100 of them, with club rushes. I think this 100 club mark alone shows how enthusiastic our students and staff are. I haven't really heard of many other campuses that might have hit this mark, and while some people might think it's excessive, I think it's a testament to show that there's a niche for everyone on our campus. I couldn't be more happier to be a part of so many clubs, as I just get to fulfill a passion in each one, and I know Josh as well. You have so many different clubs going on, and every student on campus has a place to belong, and that's why I'm glad our ASB facilitates that. So with that, thank you all for listening in, and I'm excited to spend my last term at Westview.
That concludes item 4.1. We will move on to 4.2. This is public comments. Item 4.2 is placed on our agenda to enable members of our community to bring items that are not placed anywhere else on the agenda to the board's attention. Speakers may only speak on one topic under item 4.2. Speaking time is limited to 3 minutes per speaker, with a maximum of 15 minutes per topic unless waived by the board president. There will be a 30-second yellow warning light when time is running out. The board will accept and review any written materials that would provide more specific information regarding a public comment. If there are concerns regarding specific individuals, it is preferred that the speaker refrain from naming them publicly to respect their privacy. The Brown Act does not permit board action or extended discussion of any item not on the agenda, but the current concerns will be referred to staff. And with that, yes. Before public comments begin, if the students would like to leave, I know it's finals week for Westview and RB, so maybe students would like to get to their work. That is perfectly fine. Sorry for not saying that earlier. Of course, you're always welcome to stay too. Yeah. Some of them Westview and RB. All right. As people are exiting, thank you, Dr. Seitzma, Clerk Seitzma. Do we have any public comments?
Yes, we have many tonight. We will start with Christine Peck. Together? Okay. And Ross Callan. Sorry, together.
Thank you, Dr. Seitzma. Hello, Superintendent Phelps, Board of Trustees and Cabinet. As your Chief Communications Officer for Poway Unified School District, I'm really excited to speak to you tonight about the PUSD Studio 701 interns. I, along with Mr. Ross Callan, have the distinct privilege of supervising and mentoring this amazing and talented group of students every week. As you know, at each board meeting, you are treated to the debut of the latest Excellence in Education video by our Studio 701 interns. But every January, we invite the interns themselves to come in person to be thanked and recognized. These professional quality videos show off our amazing PUSD students, staff, schools, and programs, and I think you'll agree they are the highlight of our meetings. For anyone who's not familiar with the Studio 701 internship, the internship was formed as a partnership between the Communications Department as well as the CTE Department to provide PUSD students with an advanced digital media pathway. The stories are recorded, produced, written, planned, and edited by the interns and are released at school board meetings and online and social media. Students use top-of-the-line equipment and technology, get access to mentors, guest speakers, and field trips, gain skills vital for future careers in digital media fields, and our stakeholders, bonus, get to see the learning and innovation happening inside of our schools. The interns receive internship credit on their transcripts and gain valuable hands-on experiences. Alumni from this program have gone on to major in film, journalism, and TV at colleges such as NYU, Chapman, Cal State Northridge, and more. So for the past 6 years, it's been a win-win, I would say. This year, 9 students from across PUSD were selected for this advanced digital media internship. A record number of students applied, so these are some of our best. So far, through their cameras, they've taken us inside Connect Academy, a transitional kindergarten class, gave us a front row seat at the State of the District, and are currently working on a piece behind the scenes about the new Poway to Palomar Middle College. To the interns, thank you so much for your hard work in telling our story of how PUSD is meeting our mission of college, career, and life readiness. To Mr. Callan, CTE digital media teacher extraordinaire, thank you for your ongoing commitment and countless hours you've dedicated to making this program a success. And to Dr. Phelps, the board, and the CTE department, thank you for your belief in our students and your continued support. We could not continue providing this level of experience without you. We happen to be accepting applications soon. I will pause since my time is up and turn this over to Mr. Callan.
Thank you so much. First of all, I just need to give my appreciation to the school board, to CTE, and to everyone that has supported this initiative for the last 6 years. We started with a pilot. It was absolutely amazing to be able to have the students go beyond what their traditional pathway has been and bring something of really high quality to you and the community. So thank you for that. I want to take the time to read the students' names and maybe get them recognized. So do you want to have them stand or come up? Come on up. Okay, so we have Alex Medico from Rancho Bernardo High School, Sophie Saucier from Rancho Bernardo High School, Vazgen Ivanian from Rancho Bernardo High School, Thais Giraudet, am I close? Yeah, from Westview High School. Kay McMurtry, did Kay make it? I don't know if she could make it. Oh, awesome. Okay, also from Westview. Julia Herndon from Del Norte High School, Laylee Gordon from Del Norte High School, Kelly Pritchett from Del Norte High School, and Jeremy Shanks from Poway High School. Thank you all so much, and please give them a round of applause.
If we still have some time, and we do have time left on the timer, I did promise them a photo with the superintendent and the board president. So would you please come up for a photo? Thank you.
You still have 1.5 minutes.
Okay.
That's okay. No worries.
Thank you, with 40 seconds left to spare. Thank you.
Joe Nalvin.
This coming Monday is Martin Luther King Day, a federal holiday to honor the work of Reverend King, a Baptist minister who provided the moral support to pass the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Martin Luther King Day is now 40 years old. This is a moment for the board to commemorate Martin Luther King Day by restating his dream. I have a dream that my 4 children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. True, we can perceive color, but we know and judge others by their character. That is the true meaning of being colorblind. A group in Poway would have us believe that Reverend King's dream is a myth. Let's interrogate that narrative. While this group acknowledges progress against racism, they emphasize the view that we are persistent victims of it. But are we? At the time of Martin Luther King, there were 41 states that had laws against interracial marriage. In 1967, these were abolished by the Supreme Court. This group would likely concur with the progress, but their myth argument would de-emphasize the change in attitudes against interracial marriage. Only 4% of Americans approved of interracial marriage at the time of Martin Luther King. Today, that approval is over 90%. Likewise, the actual biracial marriages have surged. That's no myth. That could have only have happened if these marriages and attitudes towards acceptance of them were the America that Martin Luther King dreamed it would be. This Poway group claims that not seeing color robs individuals of their identity. They see colorblindness as a tool to gaslight Black, Indigenous, and people of color. If we hear that correctly, and if we agree with it, then why would we celebrate Martin Luther King Day? We would be dispirited individuals, trapped in race consciousness. But that is not me. That is not Martin Luther King. And I hope that is not you. Where is your resolution attesting to the spirit of Martin Luther King and to the ongoing changes taking place? Yes, more needs to be done, but unfortunately racism, tribalism, and invidious comparisons are part of the human condition. The challenge for us is to see and live the change, to be inspired with what Martin Luther King preached, and to have a dream. Thank you.
Jason Bennett.
Good evening. So, some of you may know that I am a parent at Del Norte High School, and or a parent of a student at Del Norte High School, and one at Stone Ranch. And I'm an American veteran, and my concern is that we as a school are not prideful of our American heritage. We are not pushing that it is amazing to live and be in America. There are people risking their lives to come to America. And when my oldest kid tells me that they're saying the Pledge of Allegiance, but all of the kids are sitting down because the teacher hasn't told everybody they should stand, it is a big concern, and should be a big concern, of every single person sitting here, because there are people who died for the freedoms that we have in America. And when my kid goes to the teachers, this was an amazing thing that I wanted to give the teachers props to, and I won't mention her name, was he said, I would like to say the Pledge of Allegiance. Even though she didn't have a flag in the room, she put it up on the screen, and they said the Pledge of Allegiance from then on out. But shouldn't it be something that is done every single day? They announce it over the loudspeaker. Is anybody going to the classrooms? Are any board members inspecting what's in the class? Do they see that there are flags of different colors and not an American flag in the classroom? That's what we need to be doing. Our kids need to be prideful of being an American. It is very, very disheartening serving my country and having my kids go to a teacher, and again, she did an awesome job by putting it up, but he shouldn't be the one doing that. It should just be part of what we teach our kids. Thank you.
Luciana Serrani.
Good evening, Poway Unified School District Board of Education. I'm here today to share my experiences at Del Norte High School as a student who's been there for all 4 years. And I'm graduating this year, and sadly, as I graduate and get closer to that time, I can't say that I've had a positive experience at my school. I have felt extremely marginalized, and I've always felt at my school that if I express my opinions, I will be immediately shut down and not accepted by most of the people on my campus, including the staff. Many times the hate that I received would cause my parents and myself to lose faith in my safety because of how bad it was and how very, very little it was addressed at my school. To give a little background, I'm the president of the pro-life club at my school, which has come with a lot of backlash. My mission in my club has always been to provide volunteer opportunities for anyone who's at my club to come and volunteer at pregnancy resource centers, and we have always tried our best to spread free resources for pregnant students on campus or off campus. The reason that many people on my campus know of my club is because a year ago we posted a photo of our club rush, encouraging people who had the same beliefs to come over and check out our club so that they could have a place where they felt comfortable to express their opinions. And we received over 4,000 hate comments and numerous death threats through direct messaging and through commenting on our public post. These came from parents and students all throughout PUSD. And how I know this is because I looked in the students' Instagram bios, and they had both their first and last name and what schools they went to. When I screenshotted all of this and put it in an email and sent it to my principal, the problem was never addressed with the students, and they were never held accountable for giving death threats to me and to the former president of my club. The other school's response is that they never publicly addressed the situation, even when we had requested it to be publicly addressed, because there were thousands of comments, and many of them were coming from my school and students that I was surrounded by, and by students who were in my classes, and I had to see every single day, knowing that they had said such horrible things to me and all of my friends who were in the club. The only response that we ever got was ASB advising that we either take down the post or the student, who is the former president of my club, stay home for her safety during hybrid learning during COVID. So she stayed home for a week. Another incident that happened at my school is that on International Women's Day, I was shocked to step outside of the bathroom and see written in chalk, "Celebrate all non-white women," at my school. Since the school didn't do anything about this when I brought up the problem, I had to post a photo of it on the app I'm pretty sure all of you guys know is Nextdoor. And I had some PTA moms who responded to it and eventually got it taken down at my school. But I would just like to say that as a white, pro-life Christian female, I have never felt safe at my school.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Frank Rodriguez.
Good evening. Every teacher that has a pride flag in their classroom should be fired and arrested. The gay flag is a sexual flag. It represents nothing other than sexual things. Gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, and questioning. What business is it of anyone on this board of what children would like to do with other children? It is none of your business. It is between them and their parents. But however, you guys want to illegally survey your students. My name is Frank Rodriguez. I'm the Executive Director of Operations for Gays Against Groomers. I'm a 31-year-old gay man pushing back against the agenda that's happening within our classrooms. Keeping parents away from this discussion is absolutely severing the relationship between a child and their parent. My community is not discriminated against anymore. Shockingly enough, we succeeded. Now you're sending out surveys that's asking students what their gender is, what their pronouns are, and whether or not you should be telling their parents. Could you imagine if my son or one of yours went to school and said, "Hey, I'm gay," and you never knew? All of you up here are pretty intelligent. You have doctorate degrees, you're educated, and you lead this district. But yet, you turn a blind eye with the sexual things that happen in your classroom. I refuse to believe that any of you think that that's appropriate. Because if you think that that is appropriate, you would be a predator. There's images that are going to be displayed today for you to see of a child sucking another child off. And that's in your classrooms. I shake because it makes me uncomfortable to even utter those words to you. This is nothing about inclusion. It is nothing about respect to my community. I say with you with 100% truth, according to the Center of Disease Control, that the reason my community faces such issues in this world has absolutely nothing to do with the straight people on this planet. Has everything to do with the drugs that we digest. Has everything to do with our access to health care. The number one reason my community has so many mental health issues is because they don't have access to health care. And that's directly from the CDC. It is not slurs, it's not gay bashing. We don't have access to therapy. If you really want to help the LGBTQ community to feel really accepted in this world, embrace that people have mental health issues and they should seek help. Having a classroom without the American flag in it is a disgrace to this country. If this country wasn't here, millions of people around the world would perish. And that flag, this flag, should be held high by every single student. Thank you.
It looks like Samantha Viscount.
Good evening. My name is Samantha Viscount, and I am the Gays Against Groomers chapter lead for Vista, California. I'm speaking here today because I'm gravely concerned about the abundance of inappropriate sexual content being taught to and made available for children, both in your school curriculum and school libraries. 2 books, one titled This Book is Gay and another titled Genderqueer, are available to students in many of the school libraries. Within these books, kink is mentioned multiple times. I am a bisexual and polyamorous woman who has been active in the kink community for over 4 years now. And I can tell you that in order to navigate the kink world safely, you must have a firm understanding of extremely elaborate concepts such as informed consent, boundaries, scene dynamics, safe words, roles and responsibilities, negotiation, aftercare, and many more. I'm sure most of you don't even know what some of those concepts are. Most adults struggle to understand these topics in depth, let alone children, because of its ambiguity and simply because children cannot consent. Under no circumstance should children ever be exposed to kink. These books also mention adult hookup apps such as Tinder and Grindr. Page 158 in This Book is Gay reads, "Another major plus to sex apps is they allow a degree of anonymity, so guys and girls who aren't out can meet people this way without having to self-identify by entering a gay bar. The sign-up age for these apps is a minimum of 18. The minimum age to buy alcohol is 21. So why do your school libraries contain this adult content for minors? As a survivor of childhood kidnapping and sexual assault, by the way, I can promise you that the anonymity of hookup apps is a predator and sex trafficker's paradise. Minors do not have the life experience, sound judgment, or impulse control to safely navigate these apps. My ex-boyfriend, who was a bisexual man, used to complain to me often about how unsafe Grindr could be at times. If my adult ex-boyfriend felt unsafe on this app, then imagine how unsafe it is for a child. Your libraries are putting children's safety at risk by allowing content that encourages children to engage in kink and use anonymous adult hookup apps. Stop using my LGBT community to deflect the reasonable concerns of parents. These parents are not homophobic or transphobic for just wanting to protect their children from this outrageously inappropriate and dangerous content. Do not dismiss and demonize these parents. These are their children. They just care about their children. These are not your children. Schools and their libraries should be required to be a safe place for children. They should not contain this type of content. And I'm going to go off script here a little bit. I am a child sexual abuse survivor. And I can tell you right now, I'm still dealing with the consequences to this day. These topics should not be mentioned in these books. It's extremely dangerous. Thank you.
Stu Cook.
Everyone in this room knows that sexual predators and traffickers use pornography to groom children for sexual abuse. So why is Poway Unified School District doing the same thing? by providing pornography to our children in classrooms and school libraries. Does PUSD think that sexual predators are not doing a good enough job of abusing our kids so that PUSD has to help them do it? A couple of librarians right here at a school board meeting said one of the pornographic books parents had problems with was just an innocent, sweet memoir. But when I tried to post an image from that book to share with another parent, Facebook suspended my account for posting pornography. Even though your librarian said it was a loving memoir and wonderful for our children. Even Facebook knows that this material is pornographic. And PUSD's own Jedi says that school libraries are full of pornography. In fact, they say that students rely on pornography. And here's the evidence. This is a Mythbusters page from PUSD's Jedi. It says, quote, "Students rely on school libraries to access information, even information that some people may consider pornographic." According to PUSD and Jedi, our children rely on pornography, and they rely on school libraries to provide it. And it's right here in Jedi's and PUSD's own writing. Just like PUSD, Jedi says in their meeting notes that they want to engage in sex and gender discussions with 3 to 5-year-old children because that's when the children are at their most vulnerable to it. And right here, it's in their own writing. And it's not their own children they're talking about doing this to, because they can do this to their own kids at home anytime. It's your children and mine that they're coming after. So when are we going to stop this? Dr. Phelps, anytime you want to sit down and talk to fix this, just say when and where, and I will come running. And so will all the other parents. Putting sexualized materials in school libraries and classrooms has to stop. And we can't wait 6 months for some committee to decide on one book, because there are hundreds of books, even in elementary schools, and more are always coming. We have to do this now. So Dr. Phelps, just tell us when and where, and we will be there.
Meg Martinez.
I'm Meg Martinez. My wife and I run the Long Beach chapter for Gays Against Groomers. I'll be addressing a few key points today. First, why is this board allowing books that grossly depict extremely sexual language to remain in schools, but yet To Kill a Mockingbird, Of Mice and Men, and The Great Gatsby are banned? The books you allow have content such as, on page 66 of Genderqueer, "We've made out, we've had sex, we've moved on to sexting at work, I got a new strap-on harness today, I can't wait to put it on you, it'll fit my favorite dildo." But yet, world-renowned classics are banned for objectionable language. It makes zero sense. Next, this board, as many others I've been to, all seem to lack something: accountability and integrity. When is it okay for a staff member to show a board meeting to students and proceed to chastise those parents' concerns about what their children are reading? How is it that it never crossed this person's mind that maybe one of those parents' kids are in that room? Schools and staff are employed by these parents' tax dollars. The district works for them. The nerve of these staff members and this board to allow that action to happen, then take no action, is unacceptable. Have some integrity and hold that staff member accountable for their actions. The lack of boundaries is extremely concerning. Most importantly, children are impressionable. Everything they read, hear, see, and taught shape them for the rest of their life. Sorry, get a little heated. What do you think will happen if they consistently read highly sexual books? Normalizing deviant sexual behavior will make deviant sexual adults. I should know because I was that child, consistently being sexually assaulted almost every single year since I was 4 years old, groomed me into a sexual adult who didn't respect herself. The situations I put myself in were dangerous. Meeting people in online chat rooms at 17 and arranging sex meetups, jumping in their car, having them take me somewhere where I never knew where I was actually going to be. One of those predators drove me 75 miles away to his apartment in West Hollywood and held me captive for 3 days before he would take me home. I'm honestly surprised I'm still alive. Is this what you want to see happen to these kids? Because it will. Normalizing sex, especially in school, is grooming. Ask yourself, why is it imperative to provide books that speak on masturbation how-tos, minors having pedophilic relationships with adults, or comics that have very explicit sexual illustrations? I'll leave you with this. The first time I tried to commit suicide at 14 years old, I read how to do it from a book I checked out at my school library. If any parents need any additional help or resources, please reach out to any of us at Gays Against Groomers. We're here for you. Our goal is to preserve the innocence of all children, the same as what you all should be doing. Thank you.
I apologize, I can't quite make out the first name on this. Last name Trung? Tui? Okay, thank you.
Good evening, school board members and parents. My name is Tui Trung, and I am a parent of two high schoolers that are currently attending Del Norte High School. And I'm here to speaking on the same topic that is raising concern regarding books and material that are available to our children in the library. I would like to, and I also like to note that I am a first generation Vietnamese American who is very proud to be part of this prestigious school district. It's known for its world-class schools and educator. I've recently learned that there are certain type of books and materials that have been made accessible to our students at school that is offensive, disgusting, and harmful to our children. I'm here today to raise my concern and to make other parents in the school district know that this is what's going on. I want to let you know that the type of books and materials that are currently made accessible to our children are nothing short of pornographies. They are shameful, they degrading, and they are designed to corrupt and harm our children's young minds. I'm here to request that the PUSD school board take immediate action to remove this book from the library ASAP. You know that I believe that you have students that currently go into the school, and you would not want to have them exposed to this type of material. So please just take action and remove this material ASAP. Thank you.
Melissa Lazaro? Melissa? Oh, okay.
Good evening. I would like to share two teachers' perspectives regarding literacy training and curriculum and support at Poway Unified. These teachers wish to be anonymous because it's a public forum, so I'm reading on their behalf. Without wonderful families, the first teacher says, who support me, it would be very difficult to implement the IMSE this year, training we had this year. Our wonderful families helped me get many of the materials I needed to start. And I also reached into my own pockets, which is not uncommon, I know, for teachers, to provide these things like the sand for multisensory input when we are writing out the letters or blends. Those teachers who didn't have parent support or didn't reach into their own pockets haven't been able to implement as quickly. What would I do without support of parents? What would I do if my parents didn't have the means to help me? I wish PUSD would consider that not all classrooms or schools have the support that they need to implement IMSE. The training is only the first step. A second teacher shares 5 steps that they would like to see implemented this school year and moving forward. Number 1, transparency with the community on what the PUSD literacy tools look like district-wide. Second, a push for upper grade teachers to receive IMSE instruction in all primary grades given what they need to teach it. 3, time to collaborate. The district should utilize teachers who are already using IMSE to assist the next step planning and literacy curriculum change, and they know what works and what doesn't. 4, for intervention in RSP, we should continue using Barton and Foundations in Sound district-wide. And finally, guided reading must be phased out. That said, this is me now speaking, I call on PUSD to utilize teachers in the community who are passionate about literacy for all students and who are maximizing the training investment that you made. I have a stack of letters here from teachers and parents who want a change in this district when it comes to ELA instruction, RTI intervention, and special education. I will hand those out in a minute. But before I move on, I was told by Christine Donnelly in 2021 that there is a reading portal. I would like it to be on record for leadership and parents to hear this, a place where all reading screening information is stored for all students in Poway Unified. And since there does not seem to be a consistent process and protocol for sharing this information, you now know. Every child in K2 is screened for reading and dyslexia and is supposedly housed in what is called a reading portal. We have no idea what happens to this data because I am continually getting calls and posts on Facebook requesting help, wanting to know where do they start because their kid isn't reading. And I will end with this. In the recent Hettinger report, shares that the NAACP targets a new civil rights issue, reading. The report further clarifies that inequities were visible in which children sought outside and usually expensive help. So I will say, what happens to the children who can't afford proper reading instruction and don't have a teacher that's going to dip into their own pockets? Well, I can tell you and refer to my letter that I sent you in December and no one responded to except Ginger.
Mario presents.
Excuse me, can you please give it to the clerk? And the clerk will hand it down to us. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, me llamo Mario y soy el encargado de equipos para Gays Against Groomers. Cuando un adulto habla con un niño, tiene que ser un adulto de confianza. Personas como profesores, consejeros y niñeros jamás deberían corromper la inocencia juvenil. Las escuelas están enseñándoles a los niños que es normal tener conversaciones secretas con adultos, que no sean de familia o amistades o educadores. ¿Y cómo lo están haciendo? En este caso, se hace con los bibliotequeros. Compartieron videos de estos papás con los estudiantes confundiendo preocupación con odio. Por el resultado de Corte Supremo de los Estados Unidos, en el caso de Pico contra el Consejo de Educación de 1982, tienen la obligación de proteger a los niños de cosas pornográficas y no importa el contexto, ni si solamente ocurre en 1 o 2 instantes. Están promoviendo la educación sexual a los niños que no entienden consentimiento. Eso se llama condicionar, o como se dice en inglés, grooming. Yo que yo soy gay no puedo quedarme callado mientras nuestras escuelas debilitadamente confunden a los niños con los pronombres y que nacieron en el cuerpo equivocado. Los niños femeninos no son niñas y las niñas masculinas no son niños. Las hormonas y cirugías son cambios superficiales y jamás se podría cambiar el ADN. Si nosotros queremos mejorar la próxima generación, tenemos que empezar con apoyar a los niños tal como sean, en vez de alterarles el cuerpo. La inocencia perdida nunca podrá ser recuperada, porque el avance de la sexualización de estos niños es el avance de metas de pedofilias. Good evening. My name is Mario Presents, and I'm the Director of Chapters for Gays Against Grooming. When an adult talks to a child, it has to be with confidence. People like teachers, counselors, and babysitters should never corrupt a child's innocence. School programs are teaching children that it's normal to have secret conversations with adults who are not family or friends or even teachers. And how are they doing it? In this case, it's the librarian sharing videos of concerned parents to students with the context of hate, not worry. The Supreme Court case of Pico versus the Board of Education says that you have the obligation to protect children from pornography, no matter the context or if it only happens on a page or two. You are promoting sexuality to children who don't understand consent. That's called grooming, and as someone who identifies as gay, I cannot stay silent while our students deliberately confuse children with pronouns and conversations that they are born in the wrong body. Feminine boys are not girls, and masculine girls are not boys. Hormones and surgery are superficial changes, and you will never alter your DNA. If you want to better the next generation, we must start by supporting kids as they are instead of trying to change.
Out of time. Thank you. Do we have any more comments? I think we're on the next topic now. The clerk has said that we have 1 minute, 25 seconds left on this topic. As I did state at the beginning of the agenda item, we have 15 minutes per topic. Thank you. We will have order in this boardroom. We have 15 minutes per topic. The board does need to get on with the board's business. This is public comment. Thank you. We've already read what the time constraints are. Thank you. Madam Clerk, maybe please have the next name.
Ashley Cook.
It does include an instance of what we've been speaking about, but the topic is, it's a different message. I'd like to address on education. Good evening, my name is Ashley Cook. As a high school senior at PUSD, I'd like to share my experiences as a student this year. Last month, a guest librarian came to speak to our classroom. The librarian presented a Fox 5 news clip featuring a group of parents from our community who were attempting to ban a book. The librarian clearly conveyed her opposition to the book banning during her presentation. Then, on the big screen in front of me and all my classmates, appeared my father. I was shocked to say the least. I simply sat in silence as I listened to a classroom discussion about this group of parent book banners. I had other students come up to me later that day, asking, "Was that your dad? Oh my God. Why is he banning a book? Is he homophobic?" I was uncomfortable, slightly embarrassed, and confused. I texted him later that day, asking why in the world he was trying to ban books about the LGBTQ community. I was mildly under the impression that my own father was homophobic. At this point in time, I'd like to re-emphasize the weight that our school curriculum carries and how easily it can influence the beliefs of their students. Because after that day in my classroom, I was adamantly against my own father. However, later that day, I decided to look into the book for myself, and I don't want to use up the minute left. We all know what was in the book. I decided for myself, I did not think that the material was appropriate. The curriculum taught in our classrooms have the potential to split family relationships. I'm speaking to the school board directly when I say this gives you a tremendous amount of power. You are accountable for shaping student minds, and I implore you to use that power correctly. It is my understanding that PUSD strives to promote diversity and inclusion in its classroom environments. I'd like to emphasize that diversity should not only encompass different ethnicities and identities and sexual orientations, but also different perspectives for concerned parents. No person should be villainized according to their beliefs, religion, or skin color, or stance in a matter. I implore you to give students the facts and let them decide for themselves what their opinions are. Instructors should be there to guide the classroom, not insert their own beliefs.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, next speaker, please.
Ms. Babler, what is your topic? We don't. We have more speakers left, but we're inquiring if your topic is on books. We've exceeded our time. Okay, Miss Belinda Hill? Yeah.
I would like to take a moment to remind the audience that this is the school board's meeting. We have an extensive agenda that we need to cover tonight. This is public comment, and we do have rules and regulations around public comment. This is not content bias. We have allowed 15 minutes per topic. We do with every single topic, 15 minutes per topic. You're welcome to come back at another meeting. This is how we run the meeting. We've said it very clearly at the top of the meeting. This is just standard protocol. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Belinda Hill, and I'm so frustrated to be here again. I've been speaking to the powers that be at Poway Unified School District for well over a decade, telling them they're failing our students with dyslexia, and the methods that are being utilized to teach reading are not following the science of reading. I shared the podcast, Sold a Story, How Teaching Kids to Read Went So Wrong, recently, I believe with nearly everybody up here tonight. If you've listened to this podcast, you know that leveled readers are not part of the science of reading. In fact, the podcast states how they undermine building strong reading skills. Poway has made some great strides over the years. Greg Mizell listened and pursued getting appropriate programs. Thousands of dollars have been spent on appropriate programs and teacher training. I was excited that PUSD is training its teachers in IMSE, and yet you're undermining yourselves by insisting on using leveled readers and not providing teachers with the support and the material they need to implement the program. I get weekly calls from parents asking me to help their student. I'm a tutor. Parents should not have to pay out of pocket for their child to read. Parents who call me tell me their child is struggling with reading, yet when they approach the child's teacher, they're being told their child is doing okay and they need to practice more. We were told these parents don't know anything about the screening that is apparently taking place with every kindergarten through second grade child. They haven't been told about this. What they do share is the books that are being sent home, leveled readers, with repetitive text that cannot be sounded out and picture clues. I heard from one parent they were told that their school no longer had the Barton reading and spelling program. How did this happen? PUSD paid for the Barton program to be in every elementary and middle school. I've been told by several parents that their child has done so well with Barton that they're switching to another program. Really? Something has been so successful we're no longer using it? I hear wonderful feedback from teachers that have taken the initial IMSC training, including comments like, when we know better, we can do better. You have a teacher in Poway who's taken the time and rained funds and trained herself. You've got a letter up there with her information on it, who has trained herself in IMSC and is getting certified. I urge all the board to listen to the podcast, Sold a Story, How Teaching Students to Read Went So Wrong, because if you think the status quo is okay, you have been sold a story. Thank you for your time.
Catherine Sage? Yes.
Tell me when my time begins. My name is Catherine Sage, and I live in the community of Del Sur. My daughter is currently a first grader at Design 39 campus. I understand that there are structural challenges to delivering evidence-based instruction, especially in literacy education. But I believe that the Poway District can be a leader and can use the wealth of established science to improve our literacy outcomes for all our students. I'm so glad the district is making training through IMSE available, but teachers need curriculum. Please don't make them spin their wheels trying to cobble things together. The best outcomes come from a comprehensive, systematic curriculum that ensures that no foundational skill is missed. Our teachers need that, our students need that. Now I understand that some of that curricula is expensive, but I want to introduce you to this. This is from the University of Florida Literacy Institute. It's an explicit and systematic program that teaches students the foundational skills necessary for proficient reading in the classroom. Because it's developed by a literacy institute rather than a commercial enterprise, it's very affordable. The only required cost is the manual, and then everything else is a free resource on their website, and they are developing more all the time. I don't have any financial ties to this. I came to it because my daughter wasn't being taught foundational skills that she needed in her classroom. I wanted to find out how to change that. Learning a whole new way to teach something is intimidating, even for the experienced and dedicated teachers we have here at the Poway District. But the folks at the University of Florida know that most teachers didn't get to learn about the science of reading in their preparation programs, so it breaks it down for them. Even teachers who have not yet completed IMSE can get started with this curriculum. It's intended to be an educative curriculum where teachers learn about the science of reading through doing their lessons to students. I want a comprehensive, structured literacy curriculum based on the science of reading. But I beg you, get started with this. The foundational skills make this resource available to teachers in the district. You want to guess how much this is? $70. That's it. It's a steal. I can't think of a better return on investment. Please provide a comprehensive, structured literacy curriculum. And if you want something cheap, start here. You'll get amazing results. Thank you.
Janet Latang.
Happy New Year, Dr. Phelps, Superintendent's Council, Board of Trustees. This evening, I'm happy to share with you information about our upcoming school musicals to be presented by our PUSD students in the next few months. Coming up on the last weekend of January and the first weekend of February are 2 high school musicals. Poway High School is presenting The Addams Family, a musical comedy based on the Addams Family characters. This will be performed at the Poway Center for the Performing Arts. And Del Norte High School is presenting Big Fish, a musical based on the novel Big Fish, a novel of mythic proportions. This musical will bring a traveling salesman's tall tales to life on the Del Norte High School Performing Arts Center stage. Also on the first weekend in February, Bernardo Heights Middle School invites you to see their presentation of Matilda Jr., based on Roald Dahl's novel Matilda. This will be performed at the Rancho Bernardo High School PAC. Yes, for you musical lovers, that's 3 in 2 weekends. There are 2 more musicals to look forward to in the last 2 weekends of March. Mount Carmel High School's Theater on the Mount will be presenting Little Women at the Mount Carmel High School Performing Arts Center. This musical brings the lives of the 4 March sisters from Louisa May Alcott's Little Women novels to the stage. And Westview High School invites you to their presentation of Disney's Beauty and the Beast at the Westview High School Performing Arts Center. And we'll have more information later. Rancho Bernardo will be presenting their musical later this spring. These musical presentations are an example where several areas of each school's VAPA program, from the drama department, including CTE stage tech students, to the music department, join forces to present a top-notch show for their audience. I encourage you to support these hardworking and talented students by coming to see their performances. PUSD has so many talented performers. Who knows, in several years from now, you may be able to say, I saw that Poway performer on a PUSD stage. Finally, I would like to congratulate the PUSD students who were selected for All Southern and All State ensembles. All Southern Choir performed in November, and All Southern Instrumental ensembles will be performing the weekend of January 20th in Orange County. This year, it is not just the students who were selected to be part of All Southern Ensemble. PUSD's Jay Pastorero, the band director at Mesa Verde Middle School, was selected to be the guest conductor for the All Southern Middle School Honor Band. And those students who were selected for an all-state ensemble will be performing at the weekend of February 17th in Fresno. Congratulations to all these talented musicians who were selected to participate in an all-Southern and/or all-state honor ensemble. Thank you for representing your school and PUSD as you perform with some of the most talented school musicians in our region and state. Many thanks to all our PUSD VAPA teachers who teach and support their students to achieve their best each and every school day. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we conclude our time for public comments and we move on to the rest of our agenda, consent calendar. Item 5.1, we have approval of a consent calendar. Are there any items to pull at this time?
Yes. Staff would like to pull items 5.4B, which is the approval of the 2020-2021 school accountability report cards for all schools. The California Department of Education is delayed in providing the necessary data files for our school accountability report cards. So we will bring this item back next month with hopes that the California Department of Education is able to provide all of the required data that month.
So, Dr. Phelps, are we pulling that to discuss, or should we have just pulled it off the agenda
Pulling it
sequence?
off the agenda.
Okay. All right. So, with item 5.4.B pulled off the agenda, are there any other items to pull? Ms. Putan-Baker? Any items to pull, Ms. Platsky? Any? No more items to pull. Do I have an approval of the agenda with that item pulled?
Motion to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
With a motion by Ms. O'Connor-Ratcliffe and a second by Dr. Seitzma. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carries unanimously 5-0. We are now on item 6.0. 6.1, initial proposal for contract negotiations from the Board of Education to the Poway Federation of Teachers, PFT, 2023-2024. This is a first reading. Mr. Jimenez.
Thank you, President Patel. Currently, we are in the final year of a 3-year contract agreement with the Poway Federation of Teachers. It expires on June 30, 2023. Under Government Code Section 3547, the presentation and adoption of the district's proposal for contract negotiations is a 2-step process. This evening, the item presented is as information only for an initial review and public knowledge, and it will be presented at the February 9, 2023 board meeting for a public hearing and final adoption by the board, which allows the parties then to begin successor negotiations for a new contract beginning in 2023-24. The initial proposal is attached for your review.
Thank you, Mr. Jimenez. Are there any questions from the board at this time? Seeing none, thank you for that first reading. We will move on to item 7.1. Award of the request for proposals for 2023-18 external auditing services. That's supposed to be -18? 2023-18?
Yes.
Mr. Little.
Thank you, Madam President. In response to RFP 2023-18, this evening staff seeks approval to award a 2-year contract to Wilkinson Hadley King & Company, LLP, for external auditing services. As you know, we've utilized our current auditors for the past 3 years, and it's good practice to rotate every so many years. So we're bringing this forth tonight to seek the board's approval for this highly qualified firm that actually has done some work for us in the past.
Thank you very much, Mr. Little. Any questions from the board? Ms. Couvret? No? Do we have a motion? This is an action item.
I was gonna motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
On a motion by Ms. Couvret and a second by Dr. Seitzma. I do not see a student preferential vote on this one. Do we have a vote from the board? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank
you very much. Moving on to section 8.0, item 8.1, approval of resolution number 34-2023 entitled Poway Unified School District Women in STEM Day 2023. Ms. Osborne.
Thank you, Madam President. We are very proud to bring this resolution forward. Poway Unified Women in STEM Day 2023. This recognition and dedication was initiated by student Madeline Nguyen in 2020, who graduated from Poway High School in 2022. Women in STEM,
Thank you very much, Ms. Osborne. Is there a motion to approve this or any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
On a motion by Ms. O'Connor-Ratcliffe and a second by Ms. Seitzma, we do have a student preferential vote on this one. Thank you. Board members? Aye? I need to hear the ayes.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much. We'll move on to the next one, item 8.2. Approval of resolution number 35-2023 entitled Poway Unified School District Robotics Day 2023.
Thank you, Madam President. As we just heard from our students, our robotics teams are highly successful and recognized across the country. Our robotics students engage in mentoring other students both locally within PUSD as well as other local schools. They also mentor students globally throughout the world. The resolution recognizes the mentorship as well as the valuable life lessons students glean in real-world experiences with technology, collaboration, and engagement with industry partners. We bring this resolution forward for the board's approval, proclaiming February 11, 2023, Poway Unified School District Robotics Day 2023.
Thank you very much, Dr. Phelps. Do we have any comments or motion? We have a motion by Ms. Couvret.
Second.
Second by Dr. Seitzma. Our student board member, do you have a preferential vote? Aye. And the rest of the board, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much. That brings us to item 8.3, the California School Dashboard, with a presentation by Ms. Osborne. Dr. Phelps, would you like to introduce this item?
Yes, I'd like to introduce Ms. Donnelly to the podium.
Thank you very much and welcome.
I will present an overview of the 2022 California Dashboard that was just released on December 15th. The California Dashboard showcases how well students within a district or school are performing on a variety of indicators, including Smarter Balanced summative assessment scores, graduation rates, suspension rates, and chronic absenteeism. For the 2022 dashboard, college and career readiness are not included due to COVID, but we expect that data will return for 2023. In our district, the California Dashboard is one of many tools that we use to chart our path for ascertaining improved student outcomes. As this slide depicts, dashboard data is used in addition to local data as we review progress, articulate plans such as our school plans for student achievement, and our LCAP actions to address areas of need. There is a new look for the 2022 dashboard, and the graphics no longer indicate a comparison to previous years due to the change in the test and COVID's interruption of state assessments. The graphics represent last year's performance now as a status level. It's represented by what they call cell phone bars. For most areas, such as performance in English language arts, a status of very high is desirable. It can be confusing, but the 2022 dashboard uses the inverse to report status in chronic absenteeism and suspension. I will explain more about the absenteeism and suspension status levels later when I present those two measures. So, academic performance for English language arts. As a district, our status for English language arts is very high, as we reported on the dashboard. We do have some student groups who are not performing at the highest levels, and we continue to identify new strategies and set goals for student groups so that we can close the learning gap. The equity work that we're engaged in drives us to remove barriers for students to ensure access and a sense of belonging for every student so that they can be successful. This data for English language arts and math on the next slide reflects students in grades 3 through 8 and 11 and is from the results of the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress given during the spring of 2022. Academic performance in math, as with English language arts, our status for mathematics is also very high, yet some student groups are not meeting or exceeding the state standards. To address this disparity, we set goals in every site's school plan for student achievement in both English language arts and mathematics, and within those goals, we identify specific metrics and strategies to target our underserved student groups. Learning Support Services leads a range of professional learning for administrators and teachers in research-based practices and systems related to the core subjects and social-emotional learning, because we understand that the whole child needs 360 degrees of support. Each student's story is unique, and we are committed to identifying their needs in order to create the climate and cultures for their success. Academic performance, English learner progress. A third area measures our English learner or EL students. 55.9% of our EL students made progress, which means they moved up one or more level as measured by the English language proficiency known as the LPAC. The expectation is that all EL students move up one level on the LPAC each year. In our path towards ensuring that all English learners progress, we are in the second year of following the California English Learner Roadmap, which outlines essential structures to support students. This work is guided by our site EL coordinators and supported by the EL instructional assistants. Additionally, our principals will be meeting at the end of January this year to review student data and create site action plans to ensure that students progress in their English language acquisition. Within academic engagement, we have chronic absenteeism. It is troubling to see that 15.7% of our K-8 students missed 10% or more of the 180 days of school last year. The dashboard assigned the status of high to Poway Unified, which relates to the range of 10.1 to 20% of students chronically absent. However, it is important to understand that we're still dealing with COVID last year, and in addition to the mandated quarantines to mitigate the spread of COVID, many families elected to keep their children home when there was a reported case in the classroom or when their child presented any symptoms of illness. We also had COVID spikes throughout last year that impacted attendance. To give more information about chronic absenteeism, we wanted to give some context, so we wanted to share some historical data related to chronic absenteeism and the work we began before COVID and its impact on our absenteeism rates. These percentages are from the California dashboard. So if you look up here, prior to 2020, the dashboard measured growth from year to year with 2017 as the baseline year. The state actually identified the percentage from 2018 and 2019 as maintained because of a 0.2% change. However, we did actually improve, as you can see, from yellow to orange, as measured by the dashboard, due to a focused effort by the district, which included identifying and supporting students who are at risk for the chronic absenteeism. Those efforts to meet the needs of the student groups with higher chronic absenteeism resulted in upwardly shifting 5 student groups, 3 into the green zone and 2 into the yellow zone on that 2019 dashboard. And that's why you see we moved from the orange to the yellow, which actually looks, the color's a little off, I apologize. Sorry. The California dashboard does not include data for 2020 and 2021 due to COVID and the suspension of the dashboard. And then beginning in 21-22, all schools in Poway Unified included a specific goal in their SPSAs to reduce chronic absenteeism. Prior to that year, schools integrated their chronic absenteeism metrics within other goal areas, such as social emotional learning. In the area of academic engagement, graduation rates. Graduation rates, again, are another measure of student engagement, and Poway Unified's graduation rate last year was 93.8%, status that the state considers high. To meet the very high status, the percentage is 95% or higher. Under conditions and climates, we see that the suspension rate for Poway Unified for last year was 1.2%, which represents 434 students who were suspended at least one day. We have a number of interventions and other means of correction that have been implemented over the past several years. Compared to the 2019 dashboard data of 521 students, we suspended 87 fewer students last year. Now that I've presented on the academic performance, academic engagement, and conditions and climate, I want to address the question, how are we addressing chronic absenteeism? First of all, awareness, right? We've built the capacity of our site leaders to identify students at risk of becoming chronically absent and then to create individual action plans to support improved attendance. Through this work, like that of A through G and DNF rates and graduation rates, we become stronger in truly listening to the students and their families to create supports that work. While COVID may have slowed our momentum, it did not take away the urgency to ensure students attend school regularly. Our ongoing focus on and commitment to equity has shined a light on the importance of creating safe schools, safe school communities that include every student. If a child is not attending, we will find out why and address the reasons. Measurable goals along with specific strategies to meet the goals are the foundation of the district's LCAP and the site SPSA plans. Every school site plan includes a specific goal related to chronic absenteeism. Our Department of Attendance and Discipline has created a detailed template for sites to use to initiate a plan for intervention, which includes monitoring progress and follow-up with additional interventions if needed. When a site such as Mount Carmel High School determines a need for support beyond the scope of the school, they work with LSS to find new interventions and resources like funding transportation. We are committed to engaging in ongoing collaboration to create new and innovative strategies to meet the needs of the students and their families to ensure regular attendance. The information gathered from the California dashboard serves as metrics to inform and improve our practices. Certainly, this information denotes areas where improvement are needed in order to meet the needs of our individual students and specific student groups. As a district, we continue to refine and align our curricular, instructional, and assessment practices and our ongoing efforts to support all students. PUSD will focus efforts to improve our chronic absenteeism rates. And I want to ask if any of you have any questions or comments.
Thank you, Ms. Donnelly, for that presentation. I know it's difficult to look back over the years when the process keeps changing year after year and the circumstances of our students keep changing. So I do appreciate this report. It's kind of hard to compare.
Right.
Do we have any questions from the board? Ms. Plotsky?
I know the attendance really was affected last year and the year before, but it's really hard to not notice the inequitability of the amount of special needs students and as far as suspension rates.
Oh, is for suspension rates?
Yes.
So you're looking at the, let me click back. Whoops.
I understand they also have a high amount of absenteeism.
Right.
But the amount of overall suspension rates is also inequitable.
Correct. And we do see the groups, we still see the same groups.
Right.
You know, affected by absenteeism and suspension. Dr. Carol, do you want to speak to that?
I didn't quite hear the question. It was about, can you repeat the question?
So I understand that there was a larger amount of
Absences.
absenteeism, but it's hard to overlook the fact that both special needs students and as well as African American students, the inequitability of suspensions and accountability there. And when looking at through the chart fully, it was English and mathematics, all of their scores across the board, those same groups were lower all across the board.
Yes, and that is something that we are looking at, and sometimes the students are also in, they may be some of the students that are in multiple groups across there. However, that's exactly why we are engaged in our diversity, equity, and inclusion training, so that we can interrupt the predictability of performance and suspensions. We've got to change mindsets and help people understand that every student has strong capability and potential. Inclusive Practices is using attendance data as one of their benchmarks of how we are making a difference for students through inclusive practices, improving their attendance when they feel a sense of belonging by being fully included. Their attendance and their academics improve, behavior changes as well because they feel they are included. So these are all the efforts that we're working on. And as you know, the last 3 years with the pandemic, extremely challenging, the social emotional needs of our students. And so we are doing our best. This year, I'm happy to say we have not had any expulsions. And we have been taking significant action to reduce all of our suspensions by using restorative practices across our schools. And we've also used sometimes administrative placement to give students a fresh start at another school rather than expulsion or something else. So we are really trying to work collaboratively to find other opportunities to help students learn from their mistakes, be in school, value school, and feel like they belong in school.
Has the number gone up since inclusive practices has started?
The number of suspensions? I don't have that data. I can't speak to that. I don't believe that it has. I would have to look at that.
Okay.
We can get more information and provide it to the board and disaggregate some of our suspensions for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Kubrat?
Well, it's very hard to perform well academically if you're absent. So absenteeism is a big one. Question, are we holding any parents accountable for their kids being absent for long periods of time or frequently? As we look at the kid, we can only do so much for the kid. If the parent doesn't care about getting them to school, what are we doing in that instance?
The outreach plan that Ms. Donnelly mentioned, that is a specific individualized plan for students that are chronically absentee. It includes a meeting with the parents and those strategies, calling the house, and sometimes it's families who the parents have left for work. And so they're doing their best to meet the needs of their family. So I know some principals that call the house to make sure the kiddo is up and on their way to school. But yes, we do include the parents. We hold them accountable. There are letters and communication that is included. We also hold student success meetings so that we can talk with families that are missing school, and that includes the parents, so that we try to partner and problem solve together.
Ms. O'Connor-Rackler.
For students who fall into multiple groups, for instance, students with disabilities who are also African American, where does the dashboard account for them? Is that up to us? Is that up to the state? Do they end up in multiple categories, or they just pick one?
They are in multiple categories. So we could have a white student be low socioeconomic and be in both of those groups. And so that's up to us to then dig into the school level data, dig down to the student level. And that's what the school sites do when they are having their data days. They dig into the individual student level to see, and go to the individual student to see how they're performing and provide targeted supports.
Just to make sure I'm getting that, that means the same student can be counted in multiple categories here.
That is correct. The student could have an IEP.
Scores very low
Yeah.
will
Yes.
count in multiple categories, the same one student.
That is correct.
Absolutely. Okay, that's interesting. I have several more questions, but I'll come back.
Dr. Seitzman.
Thank you. You mentioned student success meetings. Is that different than SARBs?
It's different than SARBs. Okay. SARB is a formal meeting that happens with a student attendance review board. The student success meeting, S cubed for short, is a meeting with teachers, parents, and other staff on the school site to problem solve needs for students that may not be achieving or absent, and to do kind of a group problem solving meeting to provide some interventions and support.
Do SARBs happen very often in our district?
SARBs are not as frequent as they used to be. Funding for the SARBs at the county level, they no longer are supported. So we do our own version when we can, but it's no longer, when I was principal 10 years ago, those are no longer in place. But we do, that's why we have a work group that's really trying to put together our strategies and plans, because we know, like Sarah Ramirez did at Mount Carmel, identified the individual students, talked to them, found out why they aren't coming to school, and then worked with us to get another bus route added. We worked with Ron and Tim at the time and used LCAP funding to add another bus route that's outside of our typical routes. So that's what we really are trying to do, is get to the student level to find out what are the barriers, see if we can address those.
Thank you.
I'm going to take a question before we go back down the row. When I'm looking at the English language arts and the math categories, and I'm seeing, kind of over the years, it's a very similar pattern. I know the way we're visualizing the data is different, but it's still a very similar pattern of who's performing well and who's not performing well. What are we doing differently to help bring up those numbers for those students that are struggling?
I can tell you in the years that I've done principal work and up here is the SBSA has goal areas for our different groups of students. Specifically, it names groups of students like our students with disabilities, our economically disadvantaged students. What are we doing specifically? I think we're getting better and drilling down and using metrics to drive that work. It does overlap, and one thing I can tell you is when we drill down to the student level, we've learned not to make assumptions about the groups too. You can make an assumption that, all the kids in this group speak this language or something. That's not necessarily true. So we've gotten better at really finding out who the students are, finding out what their story is, and helping that drive our interventions. There's some great interventions out there, and we're trying to find better ways to communicate between schools too, to share interventions. Like acceleration for math, we know is a research-proven strategy when you pre-teach math skills. Rather than remediate. So that's one example.
And one of the things too, when we look at socioeconomically disadvantaged, when we look at the school level data, our Title I schools were impacted much more negatively by pandemic than other communities. And families needed to keep working and kids didn't go to school. And so when we are providing the summer school with our expanded learning funds, we are calling and handpicking students to make sure that they have first priority to attend summer school. And the kids that attend love the summer school. And when we have made all of those contacts, we often have to go to the next level and the next level because we can't make them go to summer school. So I've been talking with some other districts to think about what are some ways to create incentives to go to summer school, make it camp-like. And I think that our curriculum that we've developed is a lot more fun. We just need to market it in a different way, because I think that, people think of it as old school summer school that is going to be more of the same, but it's unique curriculum. The kids love it. They're making s'mores by creating their own ovens and doing all these tests in different pieces. So it's a challenge, and we are continuing to try, and each year we are looking at what else can we do. And then especially now this year, moving less quarantines, less COVID cases, really getting our practices of data teams back in place at all of our schools, because as we look at this data, it's the 30,000 foot level. We need to look at the student level and find out what their needs for learning are and provide that targeted support. Like some of the parents we're talking about tonight, we have SIPS instruction for all of our first grade and second grade kids who need phonics support. We have IMSE. So we are really trying to get better at targeting the interventions and being systematic. And we have work to do.
One follow-up question quickly, and we'll go back down the row. When we're looking at these numbers, and this is very, very broad overview. It's all students at all schools, all grade levels, right? All lumped into these cell phone bars.
Not always, because some of it is grades 3 through 8 and 11 for English and math.
Yeah.
And then chronic absenteeism is only reported by grade K through 8.
Okay. But are we able to track improvements of specific kids through any of this testing? Because it's alternate testing years, and do we know that our systems are working through this platform?
That's why this is only one measure of the CASP. We have iReady data, and it's not a benchmark, it is a diagnostic assessment. That's why the window is open now, And some folks feel that doing iReady now when we just got back from break, it's not about showing how far they've come. It's about assessing and having formative data to inform instruction before the end of the next term so that we're targeting based on the specific individual student needs. That's why small group instruction is so important, and the impact teachers that we're providing to our elementary schools is so important so that we can differentiate and target based on using the data from iReady, which we do 3 times during the year.
Thank Ms. O'Connor.
I'm going to kind of tag on to what Dr. Patel was asking, but it's a good point that these SBAC scores are only for certain grades, but they also don't account for students who don't take the SBAC. And there are quite a few students, a fairly significant percentage of students who don't take them. Would you mind telling me who doesn't take them? Because I'm thinking of 2 categories of kids who are never going to be accounted for on the dashboard.
So there are students with learning differences that do not necessarily take the CASP. This last year, we had a significant number of families, and I don't have all of who they are, but opt out of taking the CASP. And so we know 11th graders especially have many other assessments going on at that time, and they may or may not participate. And I'm not sure if I'm reading.
All of our English learners take the SBAC?
Unless they're
all of them?
Yes,
brand new.
yes. Unless they are newcomers, then they're
That
able,
means the
less
level
than 12
4s
months.
don't take it?
They do.
They do.
Okay, am I getting it wrong? The level 1s don't take it?
Unless they've been been enrolled in school for, if they have been enrolled in school for 12 months, they take the SBAC.
Do you know then if there is any plan? I know there's an additional, idea about adding dashboard information for students with the most significant cognitive disabilities who take the California Alternative Assessment. Are there plans? Can you update us at all on the progress the state is making for those students to be covered by the dashboard in some way? Because there's no public accountability for how that's going otherwise. This is the state's head nod at that, and effective or ineffective because they keep changing the metrics and how they show it, and okay, I'm not going to police Sacramento, that's impossible, but what's the progress on showing us some data for the rest of the students who don't fit into these categories? And
I'm happy to look into that and contact our folks at SDCOE to see where they're at with that. They meet regularly with CDE, so I will get an update and provide that to you.
Are there any further questions from board members? No? Well, this was an information item. Thank you very much, Ms. Osborne. We will now move on to reports and comments. We will start with board member reports. At the very end, Ms. Putan-Baker.
Thank you. Good evening, all. Happy New Year, and I hope that everyone enjoyed a fantastic holiday break. I was very lucky to spend the holidays with my family in Italy, which was certainly fun until United Airlines surprised us with a canceled flight and a 20-hour layover in Munich. So for everyone who traveled over the break, hopefully your flights and luggage delivery went smoothly. Shout out to all the airline employees because I can't imagine how hard they have to work right now. Since our last board meeting, I was able to attend a conference with the California State Superintendent of Public Instruction's Youth Advisory Council. We had a thorough discussion about what experiences of racism look like in California education systems. Among those in attendance, there was plenty of representation from all over the state. There were students from Sacramento, San Francisco, and more. It was an amazing opportunity to consider all that Poway Unified has accomplished in this field and how similar efforts can be achieved in other school districts. Speaking of California government and public service, right now is a pretty exciting time for some of our AP government classes, which are diving into their annual service project. The College Board requires all AP government teachers to conduct this project as part of the curriculum. As a result, students are enabled to explore various means of civic engagement and what it really means to be part of one's community. I believe this is a very tactile approach to understanding government, and I look forward to seeing where and how students volunteer. Regarding on-campus life, I've personally seen some very interesting developments. At Mount Carmel, menstrual product dispensers have been installed in all women and gender-neutral bathrooms. The dispensers appear sturdy, accessible, and easy to use for all students. In addition, on January 10th, Mount Carmel Student Support Services hosted a Love on a Leash event in which students were invited to play with puppies during their lunch break. The counseling office hopes to continue this event monthly. Naturally, I attempted to sign up for the event, but all slots were full, which goes to show how successful the puppy playtime session was. As you can imagine, an opportunity to spend time with dogs is not one that many students are willing to give up. This month, Mayor Todd Gloria delivered his yearly State of the City address. I hope all San Diegans chose to tune in, because remaining educated about such events is an important duty of a responsible citizen. Once again, Happy New Year, and for everyone who made some resolutions, good luck, and may you fulfill them throughout 2023. With that, I conclude my board report.
Thank you, Ms. Puntan Baker. Now we'll go on to Ms. Platsky.
So for me, I had one day before the school got let out after taking my oath of office, and then we were off on holiday. So upon return from the holiday, which was a house full of people because people were coming home from up north in college breaks and grandchildren and spending gifts and holidays, I spent my time doing my employee training and filling out paperwork, and I am now an official employee of Poway Unified School District. I'm awaiting my badge, getting my picture, and no offense, teachers are being gone. But I did get my picture taken, and I'm waiting for all of that. So that's what I spent my month doing is all my employee training, and spent a lot of time working on my political handbook and Brown Act policy updating. And I was sad to say this month it was very difficult not tuning into Tuesday's CAC meeting for the first time and passing that handle over to the new committee members. So that was difficult for me, but so the baton has been passed. But those are the kinds of things I did. So I will, with that, Happy New Year and welcome.
Thank you very much, Ms. Platsky. Ms. Couvret.
So everyone was saying not much happened, so they're going to keep their board report short. So I decided to reflect on last year and have my goals for the following year. So mine's about 5 pages long. Kidding, it's about 1.5 pages. But I am a very goal person. I'm not going to tell you that I need to do 50 push-ups by April 1st. However, as I reflect back on the school board from last year and forward, I want all staff to know you guys are the most amazing team. So all of the successes and the goals I have are because of you. So first off, let's see here. I wanted to say that getting back on campus and helping students, teachers, and staff readjust was a priority of last year. And it feels like now that we're being, from there, we're being very reactive with changing situations. And now there's almost a sense of normalcy. Even with COVID priority, last year the district made amazing progress in areas that were many of my goals back when I ran in 2018. And it was very interesting that 2 dyslexia professionals came today because they were speaking a lot in 2018. And we have made some gains since then, and I'm eager for us to reflect back and make sure that we're giving them supplemental materials that they need to keep progressing. For human resources, I remember complaining about all the paper. And now it seems like we've been going more and more paperless, and we've gone through the transition in a very systemic way. And my goal is that we keep improving this system since we now have site management, better control of vacation and attendance, and the rate of errors have greatly declined. Also, I really appreciate contracting with a consultant to study the salary schedule and alignment. As we work to attract and retain staff, we need to know how their workload and salary compare to others. And my goal is that we use this information as we work towards positive negotiations with our unions. Financially, we went from cutting important programs to a 10% reserve. And with the difficulties we see ahead in Sacramento, my goal is that we remain conservative and still prioritize student needs, such as the wonderful increase in student services and counselors, which we must make a priority. Career and technical education continues to grow as we won the Golden Bell this year. As I've read in other things, we are starting to add other classes as teachers are able to identify what makes kids excited, such as more coding and app development. My goal is to continue partnerships to give our students access to real careers and get them on paths sooner to give relevance to their education. Academically, we continue to score the highest in the county and strive for our students to achieve excellence. My goal is to continue the rigor of our classes as well as identify and support students to help them achieve success. We currently have 30 articulated classes, which allow students to earn both high school and college credit. My goal is to continue to expand these opportunities for students so they can earn more college credit, thus saving money and time, but also gaining confidence in their ability to succeed in college. A few years ago, a comprehensive assessment was completed concerning our facilities, and every year we review and prioritize. And my goal is to keep reviewing and updating the conditions of the schools as best we can. But we do need to continue to look at other possibilities to raise funds to cover these important items. And finally, and probably most importantly, we continue to assess the security of our schools. My goal is to continue to evaluate and train so our students can have confidence in their safety. So once again, I say I'm so proud of Team PUSD. We're doing absolutely amazing things, and I know they want to continue to improve on these. And I wish everyone a wonderful 2023.
Thank you, Ms. Coupret. Dr. Seitzma.
Thank you, and Happy New Year. I wasn't able to make it to Love on a Leash, but I have a 9 and a 6-month-old puppy at home, so I get it every day, all day. But it is amazing the impact that animals will have on the morale of kids and adults, and it's such a wonderful thing. So hopefully I'll get to see that sometime. I'll make an appointment to do that. Hopefully I make the list. I hope everybody was able to enjoy the 2-week winter recess. We did a whole lot of nothing, which was nice. We're just getting back into the groove, and we already have another 3-day weekend. My events over the month were light, with just having a week and a half now that we've been back. But my calendar's starting to get pretty busy, so I'm excited to get out there and see some things. Last week I presented at the Palomar Council meeting. It was a rare moment, I guess, where all 5 high schools were in attendance. It was a great meeting. I shared that the MOU that was signed by Poway Unified and Cal State San Marcos, I got a lot of questions and there was a lot of excitement in the Zoom room, I guess. Over the weekend, I spent my morning helping with Little League tryout registrations and reconnecting with a lot of community members that I haven't had the opportunity to see in a while. So it was a great morning. And then later that day, I attended a lovely event sponsored by the National Electrical Contractors Association with Dr. Patel. I was honored to have been invited to an event with a room full of hardworking electricians, support staff, families, and organizations who shine a little brighter as a result of the work of this group of individuals, which includes Poway Unified. On Tuesdays, I volunteer during lunch at the Twin Peaks Middle School Library. Typically, one of the library staff stands outside, scans ID cards, they monitor behavior and activity, but they wanted to be able to record data and share how students actually use the library during lunch. Last week, as part of the library's redesign, they implemented a new sign-in process. Students still sign in with their ID, but they then select from one of many reasons why they are there. Eating lunch and socializing in the library are not on the list, however. There is, however, a wide selection for the students that includes reading, homework, puzzles, chess, bots, etc. The librarians will now be able to collect data and share out how students are using the library during their lunchtime. I attended the monthly Poway Chamber of Commerce Educational Committee meeting earlier this week. There are a number of events happening around Poway this month. A community favorite is the Winter Festival, which is tomorrow and Saturday. There's snow, fire pits to toast marshmallows at, ice skating, and much, much more. So it's a super fun event. If you haven't been, hopefully you can attend and enjoy your 3-day weekend. And with that, I conclude my report.
Thank you, Dr. Seitzma. Ms. O'Connor-Ratcliffe.
In the spirit of less paper, I'm trying something new. Report on the phone, look out. I did get to a Love on the Leash event. The one I was at is at Westview. That was last week, the week before finals. And I have heard that those dogs have been bringing some smiles and de-stressing students at almost every single campus in the entire district. So you really do have your choice about where you catch up with them. I really couldn't be more pleased about this development. This goes back years. I just want to jump up and cheer. Anyway, they're fantastic, and the students love every second of it. I think there are only 3 campuses in our entire district that haven't had them there. So get in there. It's so much fun to watch. I was also at the MC Pep Rally. I missed our student board member because they broke it into 2, but the Willy Wonka theme was amazing. The decorations, the thematic things, they really went all out. They do 3 a year, one for the fall sports and the winter sports and the spring sports. So it featured all of the winter sports teams, class competition games. The staff won everything at the pep rally, which was, come on. Performances by the ASB Oompa Loompas, which was amazing. Cheerleaders dance, flags. They brought back the Sun Devil mascot, which has been gone for like 10 years. Wow. Yeah, so he's back. It's back. And the incredible Sun Devil band, they learned the entire soundtrack from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and played it throughout the pep rally. I haven't seen anything like that. It was amazing. Well done, Sun Devils. Anyway, I also spoke at a couple of PTA groups about advocacy. And I just want to say kudos to those parents and students and staff who are part of those groups who want to be more effective advocates and are looking for help in how to do it better and the most effective ways. So I was happy to do that, and I'm really pleased to congratulate them on their efforts to do more. I met with Director Tiffany King from Special Education to learn more about the new diploma pathway for some of our students with disabilities. I think the dashboard information on students with disabilities is low in graduation rates, one of our lowest areas, but I think that may be about to change. This is a really, really, really exciting work and new opportunities coming up in that arena, and we are right on top of it, pulse on it. We're starting next year. Go. I'm really excited about that. So congratulations for keeping up to speed on it, and yeah, I was very pleased to know that we're in it. We're going. Congratulations to the students at about half of our high schools who are completing term 1 tomorrow. So I know some of those who left had to go study, including both of my kids. So a carefree 3-day weekend coming up is really for those quarter schools, not so much the Poway High kids. I'm pretty sure the rain won't be putting a damper on that for my kids. So enjoy for those kids, and well done. And lastly, I just want to say I'm really, really proud. Ginger brought it up, but I wanted to mention too the work our Poway Unified staff is doing. And I mean the staff at all levels. Everyone's sitting up here. Our teachers in our classroom who were represented by some of the speakers. We received many emails as board members this month. And not just those, the ones who talk to us confidentially or when we're picking our kids up from school. They care about our students. They care about our students' safety, their health, their growth as humans, and their academic progress. And the work that they're doing is hard, and it's never ending. And sometimes it's personally expensive out of their checkbooks and a workout for their hearts. That's an expense that they pay all the time. So I just want to say to all of our staff in Poway Unified, thank you for your continued advocacy for our students. Every time you talk to us, you are here to help us do better. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. O'Connor-Ratcliffe. Good evening, everyone. The new year is off to a very busy start. and our quarter system high school students are nearly halfway done with their school year. Yes, it's finals time for them. We've only been back from our holiday break for 2 weeks, but there's already so much activity in and around the district. And tonight I want to share just a couple things I've done as a trustee. I won't keep it long. Last week, I had the pleasure of visiting Westwood Elementary School, a recent featured school by our communications department video productions called It's Friday. While it was a rainy day, we did get to tour some classrooms and talked about school clubs, staffing needs, maintaining a positive school climate, facilities needs, as well as educational priorities. It was very clear that Principal Michaels loves her school community, and keeps a positive relationship with her parents at her campus. Yesterday, I was honored to be invited as a guest speaker in Ms. Champeau's class to talk about being a change maker to the students there. It was a wonderful opportunity to talk about what motivates me, the challenges I've experienced, and also appropriately setting expectations for change making. Oftentimes, we won't see the lasting impacts from the work we do today, but we do it because we care. Many thanks to Ms. Champeau for inviting me into her class. It was truly an honor for me to speak with the students. Last night, as board president, I was invited to attend the State of the City address presented by Mayor Todd Gloria. I was delighted to see and hear former PUSD students and apparently TikTok sensations, sisters Karen and Nivi, sing the national anthem. They were amazing as always, and it was a very proud PUSD parent moment to see our own student alumni presenting on stage like that. The mayor spoke about city infrastructure needs, the housing crisis, and the fentanyl crisis, and the things the city is doing to tackle all of those things. He also highlighted some notable achievements, such as decreasing crime rates in our city and a concerted effort to move towards full staffing so the city can meet the needs of its residents. We're expecting more rain out there in the coming days, so please be extra careful and plan extra time when traveling around, especially from home to school. And with that, I conclude my report. Dr. Phelps.
Thank you, President Patel. I want to start off my report by acknowledging that January is School Board Recognition Month, a time to recognize our school board members' hard work and the important role that they play in our schools and our communities. Our school board members spend countless hours visiting schools, supporting students and staff, and working to provide the best possible education for our students. School board members listen and represent their fellow citizens' views and priorities in maintaining and running PUSD schools. They also reinforce the principle of local control over public education, which is an important, highly valued aspect of education in California. PUSD is proud to join more than 1,000 school districts throughout California in recognizing the contributions of board members during School Board Recognition Month. Please join me in giving a round of applause for our 5 board members, Dr. Darshna Patel, Michelle O'Connor-Radcliffe, Dr. Cindy Seitzma, Ginger Kuvret, and Heather Plotsky. And I don't want to forget our student board member, Prisha. Thank you for your service. It is an honor and pleasure to serve alongside all of you. Join me for a group photo at the end of the conclusion of this board meeting in front of the dais. We have a couple of recognitions to present to the board this evening. Please look at the board packet for the full descriptions in 12.2. I encourage you to read them, but in the interest of time, I'd like to highlight just a couple. Mount Carmel Jr. Jae-hee Kim won the Congressional App Challenge for developing an app called Helping Hands, which connects students struggling in a subject to other students who help them in that subject. Poway to Palomar Middle College Junior Joyce Orishaba won the New York Times Personal Narrative Contest, one of only 13 winners published in the New York Times out of over 12,000 entries from around the world. She wrote about her experience as an orphan in Uganda, displaced from her home. Congratulations to those students. Finally, Monday, we celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I'll conclude with some of my favorite quotes from Dr. King regarding education. His words continue to be extremely relevant today. The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence is not enough. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. And when encouraging students in Philadelphia, he once told them, always feel that you count, always feel that you have worth, and always feel that your life has ultimate significance. Let us remember, reflect, and realize those words in the Poway Unified School District. Let's make 2023 a great year. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Phelps. That brings us to item 14.0, adjournment. Our next regularly scheduled board meeting will be held on Tuesday, February 9th, 2023 at 6 p.m. right here at the Poway Unified School District office. Thank you very much and have a good evening.